We begin this hour with the partisan campaign speech from President Donald Trump, full of grievances and lies that we have seen and heard so many times before. But today, it was not the speech itself, but where Trump delivered it that was truly unprecedented, from inside the walls of the Department of Justice, which he is treating like his own personal law firm. And while it is the Attorney General who is considered the chief law enforcement officer of the federal government, today, Trump claimed that title for himself. And throughout his rambling speech, he laid out his dangerous intentions for retribution.
I will insist upon and demand full and complete accountability for the wrongs and abuses that have occurred. And what a difference a rigged and crooked election had on our country when you think about it. And the people who did this to us should go to jail. They should go to jail. We had an amazing judge in Florida, and her name is Eileen Cannon. And these fake lawyers, these horrible human beings, were hitting her so hard, public relations-wise. They were playing the ref. I don't think it's legal, and it's totally illegal what they do. I just hope you can all watch for it, but it's totally illegal. These networks and these newspapers are really no different than a highly paid political operative. And it has to stop. It has to be illegal. It's influencing judges, and it's really changing law, and it just cannot be legal. It's going to be legendary. It's going to also be legendary for the people that are able to seek it out and bring justice.
Joining me now, NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard, MSNBC legal analyst Mary McCord, co-host of the Main Justice podcast, Skye Perryman, president and CEO of Democracy Forward, and conservative attorney George Conway, president of the Society for the Rule of Law. I needed a lot of emotional support today. It is why we have such a packed panel. Vaughn, whose idea was this speech? How did we get here?
The question I think that you're asking, Alicia, is pertinent because it is an attorney general and Pam Bondi who opened up the doors to the president of the United States here today. And not only that, but introduced him as the greatest president in history and somebody who she said that she will never stop fighting on behalf of. Of course, in recent history, this is not the role that attorney generals have usually taken here. And at a time in which we have seen such activities across departments and agencies, that oftentimes the DOJ is the leading agency that goes forward with investigations and potential prosecutions against those who take part in whether it be corruption or illegal activities that impact the agencies in which they have purview over. What we heard today from the President of the United States was a directive to the prosecutors at the DOJ, as well as the staff, to go and investigate and prosecute not only individuals who were involved in the 2020 election, he said that they should be in jail, but also news organizations from CNN, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, and NBC News for influencing, in his words, judges. What he is alleging are crimes. What is the crime? It is not clear. But effectively today, we heard him allege a conspiracy over the course of these last years that also included not only former DOJ officials and administration officials, but also outside attorneys who had sought to disrupt and stop efforts that he and his political teams were pushing. And so I think the words that came from the President of the United States were stark because of the directive of, he said, that it would take not only for them to go and make good on the promises that he told on the campaign trail, but then ultimately, where does this go from here is the major question.
Mary McCord, that is the major question. I am running out of ways to say that none of this is normal. Let's talk about who was in the room. You had the Assistant AG, Todd Blanche, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, FBI Director, Kash Patel. They all spoke ahead of Trump's speech. You had the room full of Republican AGs and sheriffs, essentially the foot soldiers who were responsible for carrying a lot of this out. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Never. And I've certainly attended many speeches in the Great Hall. I feel like the Great Hall was just soiled today, actually, with the partisanship and the retribution and the lies and the grievances. But this is of a piece of what we've been seeing ever since January 20th, right? This attack on the entire legal institution. This is consistent with the blacklisting of Perkins Coie, a law firm, because he didn't like who Perkins Coie represented and the causes that they brought. He didn't like litigation against him. He didn't like litigation that he didn't support. And so he blacklisted them. He's blacklisting, similarly, attorneys representing Jack Smith because he's still mad about ever being investigated by Jack Smith. And what he's doing now with respect to calling out these media organizations, calling out all of the former Department of Justice lawyers, as well as outside lawyers, including, frankly, the three of us at this table, but not by name, who have been working outside the government to try to shore up democracy, to challenge executive actions that overreach into Congress's prerogative, into the judiciary's prerogative. Those of us challenging that, he's calling everybody out and promising retribution. And so there's attacks way beyond the lawyers, but these attacks on our system of the rule of law and those who actually work to uphold it within that system, it's pretty shocking, and certainly shocking to be done in the Great Hall of the Department of Justice.
And at a time when the rule of law has never been more important.
Never more important, and at a time where he and his administration are operating so lawlessly. Judges that have been appointed by Republicans, judges that have been appointed by Democrats, judges that have been appointed by him himself have had to slow, investigate, and stop some of their activities. So this is really a cover-up in some ways, a distraction, because he's unable to prevail in court. So now he wants to intimidate people for advocating for the American people's constitutional rights and their well-being. It's definitely out of that autocratic playbook that we've seen. The other thing I think that is important for people to remember is what it means, what gaslighting means, right? It means to say that someone's doing something when you yourself are actually doing it. That is what he is doing. There is not a president that has politicized the Department of Justice more than this president just in the last 50 days. And yet he is trying to turn that and say, well, it's the media, it's these other lawyers. So that's really an attack as well.